I guess they didn't change.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Traffic and Transportation Commission for May 20th, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll do roll call. Commissioner Varnell.
Here.
Commissioner Littlefield.
Present.
Commissioner Long.
Present.
Commissioner Hale.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Schuline.
Here.
Go to Commissioner Wynn. He said he was not available. Go to Commissioner George. He's not here. And Commissioner Cornett.
Here.
Thank you very much. Can I have a motion concerning the Traffic and Transportation meeting on April 15, 2024?
Motion for approval.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Varnell. Do we have a second?
Got a second?
Second by Commissioner Long. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve the Traffic and Transportation Commission meeting minutes from April 15th from Commissioner Varnell, seconded by Commissioner Long. And votes, please. It's passed with all 7 in favor. Okay, we go now to item 3, reports from Traffic Services Division in the Counselor's Office. Sir?
All right, you've got our report before you. I've got a new report that's added this time around. Since we've rolled out the our alternative speed abatement program, we have done a series of speed cushions, which you will see in Report C in your agenda. But what we have done is we've done some before and after studies to start tracking the effectiveness of using speed cushions. We've got 5 different streets. This appears in Part B of Section 3. One thing that we have noticed is, as a general rule, on roadways where most drivers were driving in fairly close proximity to the posted speed limit, the abatement features used, in this particular case speed cushions, did not produce much in the way of meaningful results. Now, however, on other streets where the speeds were running probably higher than the posted 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, and the higher the 50th and 85th percentile speeds were over the posted limit, the more improvement in general compliance we observed using speed cushions. So,
Which was the goal?
that is the goal of the program. I mean, it's inherent in the name of the program, because speed abatement is what the program's objective is.
Right.
And then after that, there's the program status report. You can see we've got another 5 cushions which are currently pending. 2 are going to go on Northeast 14th, 1 on Pinehurst Road, and 2 more are planned on Southwest 39th Street, which is in the same vicinity as the very 3rd set of cushions which we had placed on Southwest 38th Street. As of this date, there is an existing remaining balance of $16,346 in matching funds of the original $50,000 allocated by the City Council. And beyond that, I'm happy to answer or discuss any one of these reports with the Commission.
No, that's exactly what we wanted, and I think it's right where it's going. Sir, do you have anything else on it? Anybody else have anything? Okay, very good job. Okay, do you have anything else, staff?
No, I don't have anything else.
Counselor's office?
Nothing from the municipal counselor's office, except they brought their best attorney today.
I know, we're bringing you out of the bullpen.
Good to be here.
All right, so now we go to item 4, the consent docket. Is there anybody here to speak against item 4A of the consent docket? Okay, no, not 4A. Do you want 4A? That's not you. All right, staff, do you have any input on 4A?
No, we're just recommending approval of this. This will make the posted limit on Northwest 140th Street to the east of Quail Springs Mall the same posted limit as it is on 140th Street on the west side of Quail Springs Mall. It's just a matter of consistency, and based on observations, we're just posting the speed limits in the same manner that people are driving currently.
Okay. Do we have a motion concerning the consent docket?
To approve.
Motion to approve the consent docket by Commissioner Hale. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Schuline. Any discussion on the consent docket? Okay, motion to approve the consent docket by Commissioner Hale, seconded by Commissioner Schuline. Time to vote. Item has passed, all 7 in favor. Okay, we go on now to section 5A. Terrence Hayes, President, SMC Consultant Engineering. We have the request, sub-item 1 and sub-item 2 up on the screen. Is there anybody here to speak on item 5A? Sir? Okay, would you come on up? I already have your paperwork. If I could have your name and address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
Absolutely. My name is Terrence Haynes, Haynes, with SMC Consulting Engineers, 815 West Main. I've read through the staff report, and I really don't have anything further to add other than we're looking forward to opening Oak this fall, coming up fairly quickly.
All right, very good, sir. Do we have anybody else that wants to speak on 5A? All right, staff?
Okay, so in summary on this particular case, what Mr. Haynes has requested is an amendment to the limits of the existing passenger loading zone. What it'll do is he's requesting an expansion, and to do that, it will remove one of the existing time-limited parking spaces and result in the relocation of a reserved parking space for the physically disabled. This is actually the first part of 2 parts in this particular agenda, because the next item is going to be a request also from Mr. Haynes for a valet loading zone to operate in the expanded limits of this passenger loading zone. So action on the item will be at the discretion of the commission, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, do we have a motion for 5A?
Move for approval?
Motion to approve 5A from Commissioner Littlefield. Any second?
Second from Varnell?
Second from Varnell. Do we have any talk about this? Yes, sir.
Just a quick comment. There's been a lot of work has gone into the Oak project on Northwest 50th Street to ensure that the elements were maximized traffic calming and maximized limiting cut-through traffic from Pennsylvania Avenue into the east neighborhood. And I don't see where either one of these changes would exacerbate or make traffic worse or add to cut-through traffic at all. So I have no issue with it at all.
Not in our opinion, sir. No, sir.
All right, very good. Anybody else have comments on 5A? Okay, we have a motion to approve 5A from Commissioner Littlefield, seconded by Commissioner Varnell. Votes, please. All right, item is approved, all 7 in favor. We go on now to 5B, again, Terrence Hayes, for a valet loading zone as listed up on the screen. Sir, do you have anything extra on this? No? Anybody else wanted to speak on 5B? All right, staff?
Okay, this is the companion to 5A. A valet loading zone is just an ancillary use which is allowed within the limits of a passenger loading zone. So action will be at the discretion of the commission.
All right, motion for 5B.
Move for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Littlefield to approve 5B. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Cornett. Any discussion on this item? Okay, we have the motion to approve 5B from Commissioner Littlefield, seconded by Commissioner Cornett. Votes, please. Item has passed, all 7 in favor. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay, we now go to item 5C, Eduardo Jaramillo. Sorry. No parking anytime restriction on both sides of South Klein Avenue between Southwest 66th Street and Southwest 69th Street. Sir, are you here to speak, or ma'am? Okay, sir? Yep, it's yours, so we'll let you go first. If you want to come on up, I already have your paperwork.
Is he the applicant?
Eduardo? This is the applicant. This is the applicant, right? No? Okay, hold on a second then. Where's the applicant? Oh, okay. Did you want to come speak, sir?
That's fine, they can go first.
Well, yeah, usually the applicant comes first.
So
So,
my name
sir,
is
yeah.
Eduardo Jaramillo. I've been living at 6808 South Klein for approximately 9 years now.
Okay, and you have up to 5 minutes, sir.
And so the reason why we're here, because we want to request the no parking at both sides of the street. There's a bunch of impeding traffic over there. School buses are having a hard time getting by, the waste trucks, emergency vehicles. There's been a lot of road rage over this. So that's why we would like to see if we can pass both sides of the street, basically. I have plenty of pictures here, different from the ones that have been emailed to all of you. And I also have videos if any of you would like to see them. But other than that, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Anybody else in favor of the applicant? Okay, if you would like to come up, I need your name, address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
My name is Betty Leja, 7109 South Douglas Avenue. We go by there whenever we need to go to 7-Eleven. And if you've seen any of the new vehicles, the big trucks, they're wide. So when we have to pass by there, we go that, and actually, we've kind of just avoided it now because my husband's truck is just too big, and we have to go real slow whenever there's cars, especially in the evening. It is really bad to get through there. So I'm in favor of that because it makes it hard.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else that's in favor of it? And ma'am, if I can have your name and address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
My name is Deborah McPhail. I live at 917 Southwest 69th Street. I go down Klein all the time because my house faces Klein. The stop sign at 67th Street, it's a three-way stop. These cars are parked both sides, and you always have to stop and wait for somebody else to come around before you can even progress down the street. So it would be a great help if there were no cars parked by the stop signs and be able to get up and down the street. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else in favor? If I can have your name and address, you have up to 5 minutes.
Name's Juan Older, 6720 South Plain Avenue. I've been living there for approximately 7 years. And all that traffic you guys see out there is just one house. I live right next to it. I drive a big box truck, which I park on my property. And every time I get out, it's either I have to either go one way or the other one, or I have to back up and make it where I don't hit their cars, because, you know. So, but, I mean, I live right next to them, and they park like, I have a stop sign right in front of me, and they just park there. And, I mean, it's shown on the pictures, so.
All right, and
Thank
sir, so if I could have you fill out one of those forms, please, and just give it to her. Okay, anybody else in favor of the application? Yeah, please. May I have your name and address, and you have up to 5
My name
minutes.
is Victor Quesada. I live at Southwest 67th Street, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm probably the most affected by them because all the vehicles are being parked on my side in front of my house. And the police have actually gone to my house and woken me up to tell me that I have to move for their vehicles being parked on my side of the street. So it's pretty much, I have to keep a trash can outside constantly because they also sometimes throw trash on my yard. So it's pretty much, if they could fix or make some proper parking for themselves on their property, which has space for it, that would be helpful.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir. Anybody else wanted to speak in favor of this application? Okay. Anybody else want to speak? Yes, ma'am. If I could have your name and address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
I'm Phyllis Howard. I'm the property owner at 6800 South Klein. And I got quite a book here, but I'll try to hurry it up. And it's good afternoon. I'm glad to be here. And an opportunity to discuss the issues. I'd like a little history first, and let's share with you that I bought the property 2-3 years ago, and we call it Promises because we house male addicts that are in recovery. And so we call it the Promises, and that's how I will refer to it. These addicts are seeking to stay clean, and by clean, I don't mean soap and water, but they're doing it. And we do have a board of directors for anybody that would like to question some of our activities, but this is a good opportunity to introduce it to all of you. We do not receive state funding. These people are there by choice, and it's quite a turnover. And we established it in 2021, and we're going on 3 years, and then we're going to have our dedication because it's going to be dedicated to Michael Howard, who was killed in Vietnam. So that's part of the behind the scenes. And we are sincerely sorry that the traffic is taking up so much room. It is a home, and it is zoned for multiple family dwelling. And people are there because they want to be there. It's not a halfway house. They're there by choice. And we have a live-in manager that is one of our success stories. That's Damon. And you'll hear from him later. The men are required to stay clean. And once again, that doesn't mean soap and water, although that's a requirement too. They attend multiple meetings, and we have meetings at the house. There is a curfew, and there is a time frame on the meetings. None of the meetings last over an hour, or he gets them. That's Damon. But we celebrate holidays and family activities. And for example, to tell you how bad the parking is, when I have to park 2 blocks away to go to our own meeting, I'm a little inconvenienced. But then when I think of the good that it's doing for the neighborhood to allow us to park on the street, that it's thank you neighbors for letting us park on the street. However, it is an inconvenience for them, no doubt about it. We're trying to improve on that. We have contacted several churches because we have grown so tremendously that we need to find a place that can better deal with our needs. And that's a plus in this world of drugs, I can tell you. And we, the things that are happening, I would have to compliment. I've been researching you. On this Article 10, that's the best written document I think I've ever seen. And I'm a government employee, or was. But I checked out the things that he quoted, and like I said, it is very well written. We are in compliance with the one that 32304, that covers the waterfront, and we are in compliance. And to the best of my knowledge, that we have not blocked the turn-in driveways of any house. And they speak to road rage. I don't know of the road rage that might have happened. Perhaps the one that spoke to it could be more clear about what he continues road rage. And we don't double park. Damon will get them. They double park because, they're just people trying to make a go of it. And it's pretty sad. There's over 100 sober houses in Oklahoma City. None of them have parking problems. So I'm doing something wrong with ours, or something is going wrong there. But anyway, that's what we do there. But from my standpoint, we could certainly just follow this Appendix 10 and be safe. When I got the measurements here, I went out and measured some of the stuff, and I thought, no, I'm taking their word for it, because after I measured, it was right on. And then But if approved, the question that becomes to me is the people that have approved it, I don't believe they know what they're approving. I don't think it was pointed out to them exactly what is going to be entailed, because that means they can't have parties, they can't have holidays and parking and Christmas and Thanksgiving or family get-togethers, because that will apply to all of them up and down the street. And I have a little problem with them living a half a mile away, saying they don't like to travel Klein, because that is a good street, and it's well-maintained, and the police officer, he's even helped me out down the road a couple of times so I could get to the meeting. Because when I have to walk, I get a little bit perturbed. But it eliminated parking problems. But I don't think they're aware of what they're getting into, quite frankly. Then, in looking at, I'll go back to the petition itself.
Ma'am, if I could have you summarize, please?
Okay,
Thank you.
that's my 5 minutes, you didn't
Yeah.
say. Okay. Well, I did say the leaders are working hard to find us another location for our parties, but none of them they're not parties like you would know parties, okay? And, but they're working to do that. And I'm fine with the way things are, but I do think it's an inconvenience, and we're working to help solve the problem. The house itself has 5 bedrooms, and we have 4 bathrooms, and we've added another one. So back to the document. That's it. That's fine. I got pictures too, but they're not nearly as good as what he had.
That's fine. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay. Sir, did you want to speak? Yes, sir. If I could have your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Damon Barr, 6800 South Klein Avenue, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Once again, I'm Damon Barr. I'm the house manager of Promises Recovery. Promises Recovery, the house does bring extra traffic. It may be not normal, but however, the Promises Recovery House provides a safe haven and a place for recovery for men, right? We're trying to live better. We're trying to provide for our families the best way we know how in recovery and trusting God. There are 8 cars that are regularly parked outside, and we are in the process of approving and getting funding to help provide better parking for us. Also to keep our cars off the street and off the side of the curve. We allow family members to come over to visit the recovery house. We have a meeting on Saturday afternoon. It is for 1 hour. So the traffic is real bad, but it's a lot of recovering addicts that come over to support one another with our experience, strength, and hope. It is an inconvenience, Also look at it as growth in the community of recovery. We do our best to make sure that we are in compliance of traffic on both sides of the streets. Me, myself, will go out there at times and make sure they're not blocking driveways or in front of other certain individuals' houses, just to kind of keep the peace, because it's a respect thing. We want to be good neighbors. We do understand that at times we have a lot of traffic. We do, but it's just based on recovery. It isn't just, and then, like I said, we do have 8 cars that are outside the house. We do not wish to hinder or harm the community that we live in, and we apologize for the inconvenience caused. But we will do what we need to do in order to facilitate approving traffic buildup that has been complained about. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Promises Recovery. Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else want to speak on this item? All right, staff?
Okay, well, you've got our comments before you. In this particular matter, the applicant has provided the petition meeting the commission's policy demonstrating local support for the restriction on both sides of Klein Avenue. The requested restriction will decrease on-street parking opportunities for area residents, service providers, and visitors to this neighborhood. 17 of 18 residents within the required petition canvas limits signed the petition in favor of the request. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and action on the item will be at the discretion of the commission.
All right, thank you. Can I have a motion on this item, 5C?
Can I ask a question before you? Stuart, can you think of a area in Oklahoma City that has no parking on both sides of the street in a residential neighborhood like this? It's the both sides that I'm struggling with. That's why I ask things.
I would presume that there probably are locations.
I thought there
that do
was
have-
one that was a small street that was about 6 months ago, where it was very tight, and there was some, it was at the end of a cul-de-sac, and there was extra parking, and it was that road that came up to the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it was on the east side of Walker, I believe, around southwest.
And
It was kind of in this area.
And I believe also there's been others where the street was a very narrow street. It was very at the minimum levels or something, and when you put the two cars, there wasn't room for a fire truck. And it might have been that one that we just did about 6 months ago. So,
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ron. In Ward 2, there's a place where there's a residential neighborhood that you have to drive through to get into an apartment complex. And a lot of the residents and visitors of the apartment complex were parking on that
I remember
neighborhood
that one
street.
too.
And so there is a short distance there of no parking any time that, to my understanding, resolved that for those residents, and that was many years ago.
Does anybody know what the rule is for multifamily housing on what parking spaces need to be provided? Or is on-street perfectly fine for our zoning purposes? Is there anything?
Well, the amount of required parking is typically covered under the zoning regulations. And in most cases, off-site parking, which would basically be on the street, is not, those parking like that is not counted towards meeting the needs of required parking under the zoning regulations. We do have Justin Henry from the Planning Department who might be familiar with parking requirements.
Can you
It's a
weigh
different
in?
section
I didn't
of the
even think
code.
about that. Can you?
So if I could have your name, please.
Sure, Justin Henry with the City Planning Department. You're right, it is typically based on the zoning. It depends a little bit on the size of the unit, but it's typically based on like the number of bedrooms provided. So a lot of multifamily in kind of these older neighborhoods that were kind of grandfathered in where they don't have as much as we would require if they were developed today. Makes sense? Yeah.
So you're saying when it's a multifamily, it goes by the number of bedrooms, and it's how many, that would assume how many cars would be associated with that house.
Right.
Does that say it has to be on, off-street parking available, or it can consider on-street parking as a solution?
Typically, it's only the off-street parking. There is an ability for the planning director to waive some of that requirement, like 10% of it, if there is on-street parking that is available. So there's some flexibility there. But typically in places like this where we've kind of developed the code since these areas were built, and it would require more parking than it has today.
So it would require more parking on the site?
Right.
Okay. So my next question is, in a residential house, can you have a non-for-profit operate of this nature? I guess is the first start, because I just don't know. And they said that they comply with the zoning requirements. So is that a true statement?
I'm not as familiar with this particular case, but it is possible to have a nonprofit out of a residential neighborhood like this.
So a non-for-profit that would bring a large amount of people onto the residence.
Yeah, true. And again, though, if the site was like a new development, it would probably require more on-street parking than is currently exists on this site. So if this was being built where it is right now in a residential zoning, we would require more parking than it has. But because the structure already existed, they were probably able to get permits with what it currently had. Yeah.
So because it was grandfathered in, it doesn't meet the current concept of on-street parking availability for that neighborhood. And so it wouldn't be considered a multi-family, or they wouldn't allow a 5-bedroom or something to be built. Is that what you're saying?
Again, I think I
Current.
need to check this current zoning and really be
Right.
sure. But yeah, if this is already zoned as multifamily residential, then yeah, they would already have what was built, and only if they were to replace the structure would they be required to bring it up to the current code. So,
Okay.
yeah.
No, well, yeah, that's good.
All right.
Anybody else have a question like that? Okay, please.
How many residents do you currently have at the house? How many residents?
Yeah, if you could come up to the mic.
Currently, the residents fluctuate each day, but right now I think we're up to, we got 8 or 9 cars. And the number of people in there, Daniel,
12.
12 people.
Okay.
And we have 5 bedrooms in the house with 4 bathrooms. We have a converted garage. We have 2 converted garages, and they're used for that, for bedrooms, if we have sleepovers.
Okay.
Sometimes they're desperate for
So
sleepovers.
somewhere between 8 and 12
Yeah.
Yes.
residents? Okay,
That is correct. That is correct, sir.
okay. And the reason I asked that, it just seems like from the photos, I haven't taken the time to count, but it just seems like there would be a large number more than that 8 that seems to be the problem.
Well, I think the photos are when there's extra people coming, right? So if you could come up and just clarify, so you're saying right now you average about 8 vehicles assigned to the house, if you want to say that.
That is correct, sir.
When you have your events, how often are the events and how many people join in?
We have a campfire meeting on Saturday nights to where we have numerous cars that come up, plus our 8 or 9, right? We have detox centers also come over and fellowship so they can experience outside of recovery what's going on, like how we're living in a recovery house, you know. We also have a house meeting on Sunday, and we have a few more cars that show up in the morning before we get ready to go to church, because we go to church together too, also. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions before we go to a motion to clarify some of the data? Okay, so we're up to you. We're on you.
Other question is, would the applicant at least entertain the thought of no parking on one side?
So, sir, if you want to come on up.
Well, it just seems like that would be, you know, that way it takes care of the traffic problem as far as getting through, and yet still can accommodate them.
I mean,
as far-
when we all signed the petition, when I went around the neighborhood and talked to the neighborhood, everyone agreed to both sides. I had asked them the question and said, do you guys want one side, or are you guys okay with both sides? And everyone that signed that petition agreed to both sides. If you do it just to one side, I just feel like the neighborhood is gonna have issues with like the trash can Fridays, things like that. And like on holidays and stuff, they have so many cars that we can't, bring our family members along because there is no parking.
Right,
So I'm just here begging for help on this, and I don't know what else to say besides the proof, the pictures that I have here. I have pictures from different dates on a daily basis. There's well over 8 cars there at all times. I've spoken to a gentleman that walked out of that house one time, The 5 bedrooms in the front, the 2 bedrooms in the back, he said there was 3 people allowed per bedroom, to my understanding. This is some information I got from somebody that lives in that property.
Okay. What you said about having your own family over for different holidays, that will all go away because it's not just non-parking for them, it's
Oh, I
no
have parking.
for-
I have parking in my back. There's plenty parking. All my neighbors are, like I said, we all would really like to have it both sides. That's why that was that option, you know. I mean, if there was only an option from one side, we would have circled the one side. But we would really like to get both sides approved, just because everyone, you know, approved, everybody signed on it.
Well, let me just say something, if I could. Residential homes are made for residents to live, and associated parking goes with the people who are living in those homes. I was not aware that businesses, non-for-profits could operate like this in a residence. So I thought if you were a business / non-for-profit, whatever, you couldn't do that out of a house. And even if it was a multifamily house, to me, it needed to be zoned commercial or something. No? Well, R1, and see, I thought in my layman thinking that a residence is a residence, and I know that we have limited parking on both sides of a street Monday through Friday from 8 to 6 because businesses were around the corner and things were happening, and then the businesses were closed on the weekends, so that way people could have somebody come over at night and on the weekends to their residence. And in this case, it's just the opposite. When houses, residents would like to have people come over to their house, the on-street parking is taken by a thing that occurs every weekend. And so I was not aware of that, and I just like to make sure with the counselor, and if you can't say it now because you got to research it or planning or staff, I just want to make sure that before we do something that what's going on is what the city wants to happen or has said it's what wants to happen, and everything's fine, and then we can make a choice. That would be my first thing. Anybody have other comments on that? Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I very much appreciate what you all are doing, believe me. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I read something really, really interesting just the other day before I even read this item. And it had to do with parking restrictions on neighborhood streets. And it had something, you know, Jim Couch signed it several years ago. I'm not gonna be able to pull out where I found it, but it's in the municipal code. And it allows for neighborhoods to be empowered to come before bodies like this one and work to resolve traffic parking issues that are a nuisance or a hazard of some sort to neighborhoods. So being here talking about this is all good. What I would like to understand, in addition to what you're talking about, are a number of vehicles permitted at a residentially zoned property, is the conversation that we've been learning about these special events, the get-togethers that they have, the parties that they're having, the celebrations, the praising groups and things like that. In my world, in my neighborhood, if those were on a regular basis, would fall into a special event permit kind of environment. I'd like to take your time on that one too. I know that, you know, if there's a property in a neighborhood that's constantly having these aren't parties they're describing, but it brings a lot of people into the neighborhood, there are permits that are to be acquired to perform that kind of activity, I think.
So from the municipal counselor's office, welcome back. I got a lot of questions. No, we have a lot of questions that were just raised, most of which really do not pertain to, our typical street regulations here. We're talking about home regulations, zoning regulations, fire code, business code, permits, licenses. I don't know what this resident is required off the top of my head, or what they might be complying with. So I would need to research that material, bring that back. But, the vote for whether the signs go there or not is not necessarily tied to that. I mean, we can vote on that today, but if you want more information about the residents and what's required of it and whether, it's violating any provisions of the code, that would take a little bit more time to look into.
Yeah, I've just never heard of a situation like this where a residence is being used of such a big nature. The only thing I hear about or seen and think about is a hairdresser in a residence, and there's constant people moving in and out and parking issues. Is that a business in a residence? Is that allowed? I'm not asking for that, but that's where I've kind of take my history of what I think I've seen. So.
And even if it is, which I don't know, but I think we've established that it's okay to have a nonprofit operate out of a residential neighborhood. That doesn't mean that there's not other regulations in the code that further restrict the use of that property. I just don't have all that with me today.
Yes, sir.
Along with that, if we do make it no parking on both sides, and that's been part of their requirement to get approval, that might affect their ability to be approved if they took into account the street parking as part of the parking for the residents. I don't think I made that very clear. If part of your permit involves X number of parking spots and they use the street to figure that, and now all of a sudden we go in and say no parking and knocks that out, is that going to be a problem for their ability to maintain their occupancy?
I'll just add that question to the list.
Okay. Some other question?
Still attempting to figure out a motion?
Well, yeah.
I've got some experience with no parking anytime zones in residential neighborhoods, and often the neighbors think that they know the best solution, and the best solution is just none at all to make something like this go away, where in fact what works best is a compromise. And I'm familiar with a neighborhood where there are 2 no parking anytime zones, the full length of 2 neighborhood streets on one side. And what that does is it takes, I'm a little uncomfortable with blaming one property for causing this issue in this case. I see a lot more cars there than can be generated by just that one property, I'm guessing. I think there's probably a lot of cars on that street. So I think to be open-minded about adjusting the motion to just one side of the street would show great promise in helping with this, and it would show acceptance of all neighbors. It's not showing this is just as one problem caused by one property. Everybody is trying to work together. One of the streets that I'm referring to, that I'm familiar with, that has a no parking anytime zone, with the trash pickup issue, is everybody puts their cans on the opposite side of the street on trash pickup day voluntarily. And that gets the trash guys and the recycle folks down there. Big junk is a different story, of course. They have to have access to that. But there are ways that a block of citizens and neighbors can work together, I think, to make this work better until there's an opportunity to figure out a different way to accommodate 8 vehicles besides on-street. That's a lot of vehicles, and I get it. And then combine that with special events. I grew up in an era where I would go to Dallas and party on the weekends. I remember walking many, many blocks in neighborhood streets in order to make my destination, you know, to not have this kind of congestion. So I would be in favor of supporting a motion of no parking anytime on one or the other side of the street, not both in this case.
Okay, so then the question goes to the counselor, can we modify the item?
Yeah, we can do an amendment.
Right.
I'm trying to think
We would,
if
we
we
would,
need to know which side.
yeah, we would need to know
Now, we
which
need to
side now.
determine that, but-
And then we would,
We would take a motion
Change.
to amend to that language.
Correct.
Then we would vote on whether we're going to approve that amendment, and then we would vote on
the
that.
amendment. Correct.
If it is
Right.
accepted, if it's not,
They're
then
on
we're
the
back to the original vote.
okay. All right, so any other questions, anything? We go on, nope. Okay, sir.
What side of the street are you on? East side, thank you. I'm ready.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, please, come on up.
If you guys are just gonna favor one side of the street, I mean, we prefer the east side if it's possible. And these people say that they're only doing meetings on Saturdays. I mean, we can sit here and go back and forth, back and forth. I came here to stick particularly with this. I came prepared just for the parking thing. I didn't know we can sit here and piggyback off of all these other little things going on. If that was the case, I mean, I would have brought more evidence of all the violations and more things going on. So therefore, I mean, if we could do the east side, that'd be great. Like I said, I mean, if you guys don't want to do both sides, and if we can file again to come back and try to do the other side, then we, you know, we are going to, like, that's what we want to do. We want to do both sides, but if you guys approve one, then we will be back for the other side. And if I need to get, the only reason I got those signatures that I got, because I was told only to get the signatures from that, stick with that street. If I have to involve more neighbors, I can involve more neighbors, because, I mean, you know, the whole neighborhood knows what's going on. Like my neighbors over here said, a lot of neighbors that go through there have to go to 7-Eleven and the store around there. I mean, and it's just so ridiculous. Like, I'm not even bragging about it. Like, it's that ridiculous. They have meetings twice a week during the week, plus the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, it's really, really crazy over there.
Very good, sir, thank you. All right, sir, motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we amend the request to no parking on the east side of Klein.
All right, so we have a motion from Commissioner Hale to modify item 5C to say no parking anytime restriction on east side of South Klein Avenue between Southwest 66th Street and Southwest 69th Street. Do we have a second on that item?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Littlefield. Okay. Do we have any more talk on this item?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for talking through this with us, everybody. I think both sides is just not a good option for the city, in my opinion.
Okay.
Another comment.
Yes.
If this is approved, I encourage the neighborhood to give it a shot, give it a try, and see if it has an impact. If it doesn't, citizens have every right to come back and reevaluate it with more or different or whatever. That's how we work here.
We've tried telling them.
Oh. I'd also like to see it on the west side instead of the east side.
So I have talked to the Ryan Reed is her son, like she's the owner, but the guy that's running the head of this operation is Ryan Reed, and I have tried to find a solution with him. I'm not reluctant about things. I have always told them, like, let's try to find solutions, and it's always that, well, you don't tell me what to do. You know, we always run into some type of conflict, and I've tried it before with him and told him. I've even offered him help to get this done. I've told him, hey, there's different things you could do to open up your driveway, like you can see in these pictures. I mean, I have pictures where there's cars on the street, and then you see that real long driveway going on the side, and they're not using it. They're not using it at all, which is kind of, you know, why not use it and try to solve this problem? I'm not looking to fight with my neighbors. I'm not looking for none of that, you know? The Bible says, thou shalt love our neighbor. And so therefore, like, I'll try to find a solution, and I've tried it before with them and reasoned with them, but there's nothing, you know?
All right, very good, sir.
And like I said, they have a long driveway where they can fit all 8 of these cars. They have enough driveway, but why they don't do it, I don't know why.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion to amend item 5C by Commissioner Hale, seconded by Commissioner Littlefield, to change from both sides to just no parking anytime restriction on the east side. And we are ready to vote on that. If you're able to call it up, ma'am, and probably me. I was on the wrong thing. There it is, it's me, sorry. All right, everybody else voted? Here we go. Okay, that motion has passed. So now item 5C, I'll reread it, is no parking anytime restriction on east side of South Klein Avenue between Southwest 66th Street and Southwest 69th Street. We've already heard from both the applicant and the other side. We have their input. Staff, do you have any additional input on this?
I have no further comments.
No further comments on that? Yes, sir.
The 2 comments. I know for a fact that to make this work, it's going to be your responsibility as a neighborhood to be calling 911 and turning in violators. The police department does not patrol these issues. And get to know your officer in your division and let them know what it is that you're trying to accomplish and why, and they will work with you and help you there. The other thing that you have available to you is the Action Center. And the Action Center can help you with yard parking. You know, if this starts driving vehicles to park in the front yards, that's a municipal code violation as well. So you have 2 resources to you to help make this work. And my hope is that you all work as neighbors in a neighborhood, and everybody understands the cause, and everybody understands that working together is what's going to help make it work better for everybody. It's a tough one, I understand.
So we call them and they always say,
Sir, if you could come up to the mic. Thank you.
So I've called, like me and other neighbors have called the Action Center, and they always tell me just to document it. And when they go out there, by that time, they're either working. It's kind of a conundrum here, you know.
I'm not the pro on the issue. I just have experience. The pro on on-street parking violations is sitting right over here next to our chairman. The difference between on-street parking violations is that's a police issue. That's 911, public streets. Private property yard parking issues are zoning code. That's the Action Center, and an inspector comes out and sees a violation and writes a citation. So there are 2 different things going on with 2 different ways to resolve them. Action Center would get a message to an officer that there's cars parking in a no parking zone, but you can call 911.
So we can call 911?
On-street parking violations, yes,
So
sir.
I even have a photo here where I called 911, nothing was done, of a van that was literally in front of the stop sign, and you could not see that stop sign. And we've done it before. We've called law enforcement before, and I've even when they block our driveways and stuff, to have them moved, and nothing gets done. I mean, like I said, this is why we decided to do this, because I didn't know what to do. I'm new to this. I don't, you know.
But you'll still have to enforce this.
Understand.
And your resource is still 911. Okay. So what I encourage you to do is visit with your police division and talk to them about what it is that's going on here, and see if you can get more responsive help from them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Did you have a comment?
Oh,
Okay.
well.
All right. So we have item 5C. No more staff input, No more questions, so I need a motion for the new 5C. What's that? No.
We need a motion to amend it? Is that what we already did?
We amended it. Now we need to vote on the amended one. So we need a motion on the new 5C, which is east side only.
One thing before we vote.
Or need a
'cause-
motion.
Right, even
Okay.
before the motion, Commissioner Varnell brought up a good point, that you'd rather see the no parking on the west side.
We just took away parking from the people that are needing it the most, right in front of their house.
Okay, so.
That was my point.
Okay, so you would prefer the no parking be on the west side?
I think it would make more sense, is what I'm saying, in my world.
Okay,
Oh,
will I be able
please.
to make that motion?
Well, we'd have to amend again, but
So now we just move the people that need the parking the most in front of my house across the street, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Instead of in front of our own house.
all right, sir?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you have neighbors like this living, do you, where, you know, if it's on your side
We
of
all
the
have
street?
neighbors just like this.
No, there's no way.
Well,
I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you and go back and forth over this.
I'm not gonna argue either. I
you
run,
know,
my family runs a house just like theirs, just like it, identical.
Hey, listen, I mean,
And,
So the question you, sir, is why do you want the east side with no parking compared to the
so
west?
because when I have trailers and
That's where he
stuff, and I have a very hard time even getting out of my driveway, every time I need to pull out one of my trailers and all that, I have a very hard time getting out of there. And just like we showed you on these pictures, my neighbor has a hard time getting his box truck out of there. So that's why we really would just prefer the east side of the street, for that reason. Because most of the neighbors that are on the east side street are the neighbors that live there, are the neighbors that have businesses and need that side of the street open.
So they can back out.
So we can just get out of there. I mean, we can't even make a turn there. That's why, that was another reason initially why we wanted both sides of the street. But if we can work with one side and that's all we get for now, then, I mean,
Okay.
otherwise, I don't know, I just don't know what to do. I don't know
Very
if I
good,
should
sir.
involve the news media. I don't know. This thing's gonna break my pocket trying to get this in order, you know? I don't know what I'm gonna have to do.
Very good, sir, thank you. All right. Yes, sir, you had a comment?
Actually,
Wait, just wait. No, come on up and then talk into the mic.
because I'm going to be the one mostly affected by it because I am on the west side, and already I cannot have guests at my house because the parking's a lot. But I would like to request, I don't know, some kind of spacing requirement for the vehicles, because I've had the police come out knocking at my door because there's vehicles parked around the curve where the fire hydrant is, and that is, I know it's a violation. So I don't know if by having everybody park on the west side, I have no problem with it too
Okay.
much, but something more spaced out
Right.
required.
Yeah, that'll be something that we're going to clarify with them later, after the motion. Okay, so yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so either side of the street is going to be an inconvenience. I'm going to do my best, right, to make sure we utilize as much of our driveway and the front part of our yard, just part from where our fence starts, right? I'm going to do my best to make sure we utilize that part. If it's on the east side, if it's on the west side, yeah, we will be across the street from us. But I'm going to also do my best to make sure it's only 2 or 3 cars, maybe 4, that's on that side, right? Until we get the alteration, till we get everything done to where we can, like you said, get that tree out the way and extend the driveway. But it is in process. That's all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a new motion, we have a new item, 5C, that's been modified. We've talked, staff input, now we need a motion for 5C.
Motion to approve the modified item 5C.
By Commissioner Hale to approve 5C.
second.
Second by Commissioner Varnell. Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve 5C, which is the modified 5C, each side only, By Commissioner Hale, seconded by Commissioner Varnell. It's time for votes. Item has approved. All in favor, all 7 in favor. All right, thank you very much. Now, there is one point, well, there's a couple points here. First of all, Counselor, I think we still want to know this information that we asked you to research, one for ourselves, and when other times like this come up, it may help us in the future. Okay, and then
We can follow up on that.
yeah, please, thank you, sir. And then for you, Captain, the stop signs, you know, from what I understand, it's what, 30 feet from the curb of the stop sign or from the stop sign itself, there's no parking? Is that a first comment?
The ordinance is here in the packet. It has all of the parking restrictions. You cannot park in an intersection to begin with.
Right.
And then yes, it's specific
Front of a
distances
hydrant.
from stop signs, 15 feet away from a fire hydrant. So
Right.
yes.
So, and then, as was mentioned, could you mention to that area leadership of the issue going on here, so they're aware of it and maybe can, over the weekend, when there's a lot of things going on, just drive by there and see if it's okay?
Yeah, and I'll just speak to the applicant. Hey, nothing barbs me more to hear that I called the police and nothing got done. Usually when we investigate those kind of statements, it's a simplistic way of saying I didn't get what I wanted. If you call the police and you're not satisfied with the officer's response, always ask for a supervisor. The supervisor has the time to come and hear out your conditions, hear out and look at the side of it. And this goes for everybody, if you're not satisfied with what a police officer is telling you right there, always ask for a supervisor. I take that personally. We want to provide good service to our residents. And like I said, I just take it personally. So, especially on these parking things, you know, police officers are very busy. We don't have enough of them, and we had a lot of high-profile things happening all the time. But sometimes getting a supervisor involved will help an officer take a closer look at the circumstance, and we can take a more appropriate action. So,
Okay, but you'll let that,
for sure. I'll be
that sector
reporting this.
leadership know of what's going on?
Yeah, sorry that didn't answer your question.
That's very
I
good.
will report this incident to the command of that station.
Okay, very good. And
And
we
I
have
would
the,
also suggest that, and I'm sure you have, but talk to your residents about those distances and that there will be additional patrols coming through so that they don't get caught with all of that
Yeah.
problem and they're not actually doing the issue either.
Yes, ma'am. It's crazy. I have pointed out to use that fifth part of the driveway, right? And, you know, just circumstantially, somebody gets home, work 8-10 hours like a lot of us do, construction, you know, bricklaying. I mean, it's just the type of work, you know. But at the same time, this is just something that's just, it's a must now. So we do have to utilize, we do have to get out the street, you know. We do have to pick our trash up if someone drops trash on the neighbor's lawn, you know. So, but thank y'all very much. All right.
all right, very good. All right, thank you, everybody. All right, we're going on now to item 5D, King Shack Do, owner J.K. Chef King Restaurant, to remove some metered parking as listed up on the screen. Yep, just a second. All right. So do we have anybody here to speak on this item? Thank you for waiting. Can I have your name and address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes.
So my name is Josh Ballan. I'm one of the business partner. I'm the J in front of the K. We are having the business on 612 North Robinson Avenue, and we are trying to request a passenger loading zone with a second amendment for a valid parking within that space.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else that wants to speak on item 5D? Okay. Staff input?
All right, comments are before you. This is also like a two-part application. One is to convert a a metered parking space to a full-time passenger loading zone, and the second follow-on case is to establish a valet loading zone within the same space. It is not an uncommon practice to make amendments such as this, so action on the case will be at the discretion of the commission.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have a motion concerning item 5D?
Mr. Chairman, I move the application be approved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Schuline to approve item 5D. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Long. Any discussion on 5D? Motion to approve 5D from Commissioner Schuline, seconded by Commissioner Long. Votes, please. Item has passed with all 7 in favor. Now we go to item 5E, same applicant, valet loading zone, as shown up on the screen. There we go. Sir, do you have anything else to say on this? No? Very good, thank you. Staff, any additional comments?
No, the applicant has provided all the required documentation indicating the size of the loading zone and consensus from the adjacent business owner and property owner. So action will be at the discretion of the commission.
Okay, can I have a motion for 5E?
I move that it also be approved.
Motion for 5E to be approved by Commissioner Schuline. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Littlefield. Any discussion? We have a motion from Commissioner Schuline to approve 5E. That's seconded by Commissioner Littlefield. Votes, please. All right. Item has passed with all 7 in favor. Thank you. Thanks for your time, sir. I love Oklahoma. It's okay. That's a first. Oklahoma is okay. And now we go to item 5F. David Miller. Some may know David Miller. He used to be a chairman of this body years ago. So he's brought up a request for traffic signals at the west and east side of North Interstate Highway 35 Service Road and East Hefner Road intersection. Mr. Miller, do you have any comments you'd like to say? And remember, sir, stay in order, please.
I will do my best.
If I could have your name and address, and you have 5 minutes, sir.
David Miller, 6217 Northeast 105th Street. I'd like to thank Mr. Chai and his staff for collecting and interpreting the data for this project or request. It may be a little bit premature. This all hinges on the new Quick Trip that is being built on the southwest corner of that intersection. So it was scheduled to be open in spring of '24. Looks like they're going to make late summer before it'll actually take place. I travel through that intersection 2 or 3 times a day, and it's not a problem right now. 4-way stops in Oklahoma City usually work very well, especially if it's a 2-lane street. The drivers recognize who has the right-of-way and things like that. And for example, at Hefner and Sooner Road, lots of traffic through there, no problems, or very few problems. The problem comes in at this intersection with the off-ramp on the southbound side of I-35. That's where the semi-truck traffic's going to exit off of I-35. And in this picture, they show an entrance literally right across the street from the yield sign. But that's an old picture, and the truck entrance is going to be on the Hefner Road, west of the interstate. And what they're going to have to do is cross over 2 lanes of traffic to get in the left turn lane to turn left or west on Hefner and enter at the back, they've got the truck pumps and services at the back of that facility, at the west side of that facility. Like I say, this picture's a little bit dated, and it doesn't show everything that's there right now. The problem with a four-way stop like this on multiple lanes is visibility. At a two-lane road, you know, it's real easy to see who's coming at you from either direction. With the four-way stop here, for example, on the east side of I-35, there's truck traffic, semi-truck traffic out there right now, but the trucks move very slowly, and a lot of times the cars will beat them through the intersection, knowing that they can, even though it's not their turn. The other problem with this intersection is it's designated as a bicycle. Hefner Road is bicycle traffic and may use full lane. So I don't know what's going to happen on Hefner. You know, back at Eastern or MLK, it's 4 lanes wide, and it may at some point in time get widened from there all the way over to Sooner Road and maybe even further. But anyway, this yeah, I think I've covered it. It may be a little bit premature, but I think in time we're going to have something done at this intersection to avoid the problems that we had at Waterloo and I-35, traffic backing up on the interstate. If those trucks exit on southbound I-35 for Hefner and they can't get out of the way, make the turn in a reasonable length of time, traffic's going to back up on I-35. And that's what happened on Waterloo. So I appreciate the consideration, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much. Anybody else wanted to speak on item 5F? Okay, staff?
All right, you've got our comments before you. One thing that's not indicated on the aerials that we provided is that just to the north of the interchange on the west side of I-35 is where Frontier City Amusement Park is located. Presently, the east side intersection meets warrant 2 under reduced traffic volume conditions for considering a use of signalized traffic control, whereas the west side intersection currently does not meet any of the MUTCD's 9 signalized traffic control warrants. Neither location has sufficient traffic entering volumes to meet the reduced traffic volume conditions to meet warrant 1 or crash history volumes at this particular point in time. Should the Traffic and Transportation Commission approve the request, the approval needs to include roadway widening for dedicated left turn lanes on both approaches of the west and east side north I-35 service roads, an extension of the existing eastbound left turn lanes on East Hefner Road at both intersections. The approval of the traffic signals without the inclusion of turn lane improvements won't afford drivers turning left the ability to do so with a protected left turn phase. At this point in time, as I noted, this particular location does meet one of the signal consideration warrants at the east side of the intersection. Given the amount of time that it takes from approval of a traffic signal to the time it's funded, based on the number of changes that can occur in the area, it's likely that it will continue to meet, or it might actually meet additional signal warrants as time passes. So I'm happy to answer any of the questions you might have on the application.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have a motion concerning item 5F?
One item I would like to add.
Yes, sir.
The traffic at Frontier City is seasonal because the park is the hours that they keep. But we've seen traffic back up on the service road to enter the parking lot both directions all the way to Hefner Road. And that only occurs once or twice a day, but it happens quite regularly. The other thing that Camp DeConnie is a half a mile west of there on the north side of the road, and they had problems with traffic backing up on Hefner. And I don't think it shows on there, but Hefner goes, there's I think it's Lightning Creek or Deep Fork Creek runs through there, and there's a little jog in the road. And in order to fix that problem, Camp DeConnie built a parking lot so that you can pull in and then they can do zipper merge to drop off and pick up campers. So they came up with their own solution to the problem of not blocking the traffic on Hefner.
All right, very good. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, do we have a motion for 5F?
Mr. Chairman, I move it be approved with staff's recommendation.
We have a motion from Commissioner Schuline to approve 5F to include the staff recommendations. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second by Commissioner Hale. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve 5F from Commissioner Schuline that includes the staff recommendation, seconded by Commissioner Hale. And can we vote, please? Item has passed with all 7 in favor, excuse me. All right, thank you, sir. Okay, we go now to Gary Lee, request for no vehicles in excess of 2-axis restriction on Northwest 121st Street between North Walker Avenue and North Santa Fe Avenue. Hi, sir. If I could have your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
My name is Gary Lee, and my address is 108 Northwest 122nd Street, and that backs up to 121st and Santa Fe. And the problem we're having is that local industrial companies are using 121st Street to beat the signal light at 122nd and Santa Fe, and they cut through the residential neighborhood to do that. And then also, there's a few vacant lots on the street, so we're also having a problem of 18-wheelers coming in there and parking, and they've been issued citations, and they still do it. Excuse me. I think it's cheaper to pay the citation and park there than it is to put their truck somewhere else. And so we're having a parking issue, and then concrete trucks beating the light trying to go through the neighborhood. So that's pretty much the problem. And
All right.
we want the sign.
Very good, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else wanted to speak on item 5G? Staff input?
All right, our comments are before you. The requested axle restriction basically is a large truck restriction, and it may curtail some of the use of this roadway by vehicles having more than 2 axles. The city's regulations on axle restrictions make allowances for vehicles with more than 2 axles to use streets where such signs are posted for the purpose of delivering or picking up materials or merchandise, and then only by entering such street at the intersection nearest the destination of the vehicle and proceeding no further than the nearest intersection thereafter. Staff notes in section 59-10450 in the zoning chapter of the Oklahoma City Municipal Code that as Mr. Lee noted, it is prohibited to park commercial vehicles in neighborhood streets. In his letter, he expressed concern over damage being caused to 121st Street as a result of heavy truck usage of this particular roadway. And on page 5 of the report, you'll notice that when we did our study that we did find on the western section of 121st Street between Walker and Harvey, we recorded the passage of the traffic stream made up about not quite 11% of vehicles having in excess of 2 axles, which is pretty significant for a residential street. And then towards the east end, it was at about just over 5%. And ordinarily, we would expect on a roadway like this, somewhere in the neighborhood, maybe 2, possibly to 3%. So action on the item will be at the discretion of the commission. I'm happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Okay, can I have a motion concerning item 5G?
Motion for approval?
Motion by Commissioner Varnell to approve item 5G. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Long. Do we have any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5G from Commissioner Varnell, seconded by Commissioner Long. Votes, please. Item has passed. We're all 7 in favor. All right, thank you very much, sir. Do we have any comments from citizens? Item 6. Okay, we go on now to reports and other items from traffic commissioners, et cetera. So we'll go on to Commissioner Varnell.
None from me, thank you.
Commissioner Littlefield.
I do. That was a difficult item with that neighborhood block and that parking. And I had to sit here and bite my tongue because there were some things that I really wanted to say, but when I thought about them momentarily, I went, it's really not pertinent to solving the problem. This is an example, in my opinion, of a block in a neighborhood where neighbors don't get along. It's a block in a neighborhood where the neighborhood probably isn't organized. And it disturbed me to hear neighbors complaining about the way other neighbors were parking their vehicles because the complaining neighbor can't get his non-compliant panel truck off of his R1 property, or his non-compliant work trailer or commercial vehicle that's parked there all night long. All those things sew together to create this animosity and cause these problems. I don't know what the solution is for it. I wish I had spoken more with a couple of those folks, but I didn't find it my place to do so. But if anybody's hearing now, what makes great neighborhoods is where neighbors get along and they exercise equally who's doing something wrong and using the resources to correct them to make everybody get along. So that was my observation from that. Thank you.
All right, go to Commissioner Long.
I don't have anything further.
Commissioner Hale. Nothing to add, sir. Commissioner Shuline. Commissioner Cornett. Okay. Captain, let's see, where was that one that? Okay, that's fine. Do you have anything, Captain? Anything else? Anything to report?
I do not have a report, no.
Okay. Council, you got your stuff?
I'm all set.
All good to go? All right.
I got my homework.
All right, the only thing I have is June meeting. We usually cancel if there's not much going on for summer vacations, et cetera. So I need to ask the staff. Staff, do we have anything hot coming up that we need to be here in June?
We have very few cases working right now. So no.
So you don't see a item come up or a saturation of items that we need to work to keep things moving?
Not as of today, no.
Not as today, okay. Well, unless there's an objection, I'm going to ask the staff to let the city clerk know that we're going to cancel June meeting. So if you could do that, please.
I'll take care of it.
All right, thank you very much. All right, anybody have any other business for the Traffic Commission? All right, we're adjourned.